Hi, hi. Good morning, everyone from New York. Although I guess for those of you who are watching from Singapore, good evening. So you know my name, and today will be the showcase of the CD that I have coming. Seven, the organ music of Singapore, graciously sponsored by the National Arts Council grant. So I will first, talk about how the program will go, and then we'll just lead into things. So basically, the piece that you just heard was the Syafiqah piece by Syafiqah. It's called "We Believe in One God," and basically, it builds on this D, this that represents the oneness of God, and over this D, this whole piece built. And now, seven, as some of you may know, basically consists of two groups of 7 pieces. 7 chorales based on Bach chorales, written by 7 Singaporean composers, and the 7 angels, written by just one Singaporean composer, Zhangyi. And so I will be playing some of these pieces for this showcase, but let me just give some brief introduction first. So the 7 chorales are written variously by Jonathan Shin, Syafiqah, Huang Dingchao, Dan Yuting, Li Jinjun, Emily Ko, and Wanne Fung. So due to time constraints, we'll be mostly doing Jonathan's, Syafiqah's piece, which you have heard already, Yuting, Jinjun, and Wanne's piece. And then the other 7 pieces, the 7 angels, are based on the apocalyptic revelation, angels from the book of Revelation, from the Bible. So it is a colossal set of work. So again, we'll just be doing like 4 movements from this. The first, second, third, and fourth angel. And so basically, I will talk a bit about the process, the programming, and then I will intersperse it with playing. So it'll be half chat, half music. So let's get to how I got to the process of actually recording this CD before I talk about the music more. So the idea for the CD came around 2020. Around May, Zhangyi, the composer of the 7 Angels, was like suggesting to me, hey, since you're like sitting around in lockdown, or as we know in Singapore, circuit breaker, he said, why don't you try for some grants? And then he suggested this CD grant, and then so I took it, I wrote it, called a few people, talked to the composers and stuff to put the program together. And then, of course, I did the grant application. And then one thing I'm very grateful for is to the venue rebates offered by the MCCY, the Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, if I remember correctly. So forgive me, that was wrong. But yes, the venue rebates, which allowed me to record this CD in Esplanade. So as I understand it, it is probably the first recording of Singaporean organ music in the Esplanade Concert Hall, to which I'm very grateful to the folks there. And also after that, there's also the recording, and then there's the mastering, preparation of all the materials, including the program booklets and stuff. So if you want to learn more, I would encourage you to, of course, buy the CD. You can enjoy the fabulous art and the program, and all the information about the pieces. So, I will touch, of course, briefly on the pieces as I play them, but, just to encourage you to actually buy the CD, I would, leave some details concealed so that you would be motivated to buy it. So, after I compiled all the materials, I made a proposal to Centaur Records, which has graciously decided to produce this CD and market it internationally. So it's also on Spotify. I think there's a Spotify link there if you want. So now, and then of course this all leads back to the showcase. So I think I submitted the grant in May 2020, and after nearly 2 years, I guess now it's the showcase. So welcome to St. Ignatius of Antioch in New York City, which is where I'll be playing the remainder of the program. So let me talk about the chorales, which I'll play first. So you heard the Syafiqah, and I will be playing next the pieces by Yuting, Jinjun, and Wanne in that order. And Now you may be wondering, why did these composers come up spontaneously and simultaneously with an urge to write a piece based on chorales by Bach? And the answer is they did not, because I was the one who commissioned them. So in 2018, the Yangsuto Conservatory of Music, or YST for short, had the Voyage Festival, which was a celebration of alumni, and I decided to make a contribution. I proposed the program of the small keyboard-only chorales from the third part of Bach's Klavierübung. And to go with that, I propose that YST alumni composers write a chorale to each piece, like their own take on it. So in the case of Yuting, she has written on the title of a piece, which is also the title of the Bach chorale, is Vater, unser im Himmelreich, which means Our Father in Heaven. This is, of course, based on the Lord's Prayer, both the chorale and Yuting's piece. And of course, I'm not going to give you so much detail, so you'll be motivated to buy the CD. But suffice to say, Yuting has taken the melody of the chorale and she has infused her entire piece with it, which I would say has a very kind of meditative kind of quality. And then, of course, the next composer, Jinjun, wrote his on the chorale Christus, unser Herr zum Jordan kam, which means Christ came to the Jordan. Now, it is a chorale about baptism. So, Jinjun has opted for a more contrapuntal approach, sort of, kind of mirroring the turbulent waters of the Jordan where Jesus is being baptized. And also, of course, a homage to Bach, who was, of course, very much a contrapuntal master. So you will hear a lot of counterpoint, but in a new style, we shall say. And of course, last but not least, in this today's presentation of the chorales is Wanne. Wanne wrote based on the chorale Jesus Christus, unser Heiland, der von uns den Gotteszorn wandte, which means Jesus Christ, our Savior, who wards off the rage of God. Now, I realize that is a very long-winded title, and the rage of God, we would imagine it to be very apocalyptic and, just very dramatic, which is how the piece sounds. Although I should mention that the piece is actually about taking Holy Communion. So the idea, I think, behind the text is, Jesus wards away the wrath of God so that we may be worthy to accept Holy Communion. So now that I've explained these pieces and I premiered them in YST in 2018 on the portative organ, I'm going to go into the significance of these pieces. So as I have constantly made a point throughout this presentation, these are Bach chorales, but done by Singaporeans. They infuse their own 21st century Asian viewpoint compared to and a very ecumenical viewpoint, I must add, compared to, say, an 18th century Saxon Lutheran viewpoint. So you can think of it sort of as like the works of Bach are viewed through the lens of a 21st century Singaporean living in a very different multicultural society. And you ask, what does this mean? And the answer is that, it's very cliched. I know that music is eternal. And, some of these concepts are eternal, the meditativeness of the prayer, celestial wrath. I mean, these things, even when seen by Singaporeans, can convey a similar effect to what, Bach was thinking when he was setting these chorales. And, a lot of times there's a lot of reimagining of works, like how people would set up operas in different costumes, kind of different settings, backgrounds, sets, designs, and stuff like that. And this is just one in another tradition of this, but of course done mainly through music. And of course, one thing you will notice about all these pieces is that they are small pieces. The pedal roll is very minimal, very suited for beginners. And I think this is great because oftentimes, to be honest, contemporary music receives a lot of complaints that it's difficult to play and challenging, even to professionals. But I think these pieces can be taken up by any beginner. At least it's what it looks like to me. And I think this is very important because for contemporary music, but also for the music of Singaporeans, the easier a piece is to realize and play, the easier it is for it to get out and therefore spread our wondrous culture amongst other people. So without further ado, I will play in this order. Yuting's piece, the Vater unser im Himmelreich, followed by Jinjun's piece, Christ unser Herr zum Jordan kam, and then Wanne's piece, Jesus Christus, unser Heiland. So now I'm just going to pass the mic back and hope you enjoy the next segment. Hi. So once again, that was Dan Yuting's Vater, unser im Himmelreich, followed by Jinjun's Christ, unser Herr zum Jordan kam, and then Winnie's Jesus Christus, unser Heiland. And then I think before I play each of the remaining pieces, I will also announce which piece it is. So now, let's get to the seven angels. So the story behind the seven angels is that while I did not commission the pieces, I arguably had a big hand in their existence. So they started off, I think, the first piece actually was the seventh, the last movement. The seventh angel was written by Zhangyi for I think an organist composer's collaboration at the Peabody Institute where we both studied. And then after that, I approached him and said, why not you, try to finish this collection? And he said he also had the same idea. So that was the piece was premiered in 2014. And then in 2017, I premiered the sixth angel at Victoria Concert Hall, or VCH for short. And then, I was like, okay, why don't you finish this piece? And then the opportunity came in 2019 when I proposed alongside Mervyn Wong, who did the art for the CD and the thumbnail that you saw. We decided to do a concert involving Bach, the seven angels, and animations, plus a installation artwork in YST, which kind of represented the light coming down from the heavens. And so, in order to do this concert, the seven angels had to exist in full. So Zhangyi finished the piece in 2019, and then we played it, I played it alongside different Bach pieces every night. And so this is kind of how the seven angels came into play. So now, without giving away too much details, which can be found in the CD, the seven angels are each based on one of the eponymous angels from the book of Revelation, which I mentioned earlier. Each angel blows a trumpet and nasty things happen. So the nasty things can depend on fire and hail for the first angel, a large object dropping down for the second angel, and for the fourth angel, disruption in the day-night cycle, where you will notice a contrast representing the difference between the bright daylight and the kind of mysterious ethereal night that kind of plagues humanity. So of course, this is very biblical, and of course Zhangyi, if you ever have the chance to perform from the score, he has helpfully put in verses which explain where each kind of musical motif represents what in the text. But I wanted to say that, of course, these are not religious works, at least not solely by any extent. Each of the angels in the rich world of eschatological symbology, they represent some sort of destructive force, some sort of disaster, and I think this is something we can all understand. I mean, especially with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, I think we can all understand how it feels to be in a sort of life-altering disaster or catastrophe, which is what happens every time an angel blows a trumpet, for the most part. And I think this, it kind of creates a universal appeal, especially also when you hear the music later. You will notice that it has this jagged and angular harmonies, these really thick chromatic chords that kind of convey disaster. And I think everyone can empathize with that kind of music, and everyone can also see how it connects with catastrophes, whether it be kind of global like the pandemic, or it can be personal, or something that affects someone close to them or something. So I think this idea of calamity, which I also brought up in when kind of providing some sort of design help for this earlier VCH online series called Calm and Calamity. This is the idea that music can express, no matter what its underlying text, these kind of things that are kind of universal to the human experience, or the human experience across the centuries, which this set of pieces certainly do. I mean, regardless of one's faith or religion. So I will play the seven angels now, and I will announce each piece before I start. So I will start with the first angel. So that was the first angel, and now the second angel. The third angel. fourth, but definitely not the last angel. Hi. So I hope you enjoyed that sampling of the Seven Angels by Chen Zhangyi. And to hear what the remaining three sound like, I would of course suggest that you buy the CD or look it up on Spotify. In any case, I assure you they're all equally groundbreaking and apocalyptic. Not just in terms of, what of course the text represents to both the readers of the book, but also to people now these days, but also groundbreaking in that this much organ music for a lot of this organ music for Singapore has only come very recently. And one thing that I've been trying to do is to kind of promote the organ music of Singapore. Commissioning with commissioning these composers, working with them to write this piece, and then of course other projects which involve organ but not necessarily organ solo. I have taken a hand in doing so. This CD for me is kind of like a first step in bringing the music of Singaporeans, at least for the organ sphere worldwide, which I think is very important because the organ is a very old instrument and has quite a devoted fan base, as some of us would say. So it's I think it's a good chance to bring in such music to these people. And in fact, I do hope you enjoyed all the music so far. I just have some acknowledgements to make. Actually, I have quite a bit of acknowledgements to make. Actually, I realized as I was drafting this, I realized that making a CD, it takes a village to make a CD. As they say, it's kind of like a child in that sense. So if you bear with me, I have a lot of acknowledgements to make. Of course, first is to the National Arts Council of Singapore. Thank you for having confidence in sponsoring my grant via the presentation and participation extended play grant. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to especially thank my grant officer, Kristen, for her help in answering questions timely and providing support and just basically listening to all the stuff that I have to send her. So thank you very much, Kristen, if you're still watching this. And then, of course, I have to thank the Singapore chapter of the American Guild of Organists. So the American Guild of Organists is although it says American in the word, actually it has quite an international presence, and there is a chapter in Singapore. So I would like to thank them for their support in funding and in publicity, and in just listening to some of these pieces and supporting me all these years. So thank you very much. Yongsu Conservatory of Music, for providing the opportunities for these pieces to be performed in the first place. So with Voyage in 2018, it was a chance to premiere all the chorales, including those that you heard this morning or evening. And the Seven Angels, also a chance for me to perform these pieces for 2 nights and an afternoon. And also to provide the whole experience associated with those concerts. Thank you very much. And also some of you may or may not know, the showcase was originally meant to be in YST, but it was not to be. But I would still like to thank YST for graciously offering your venue. I would like to thank the people at Esplanade for providing support in this project, helping me familiarize myself with the organ, with just all the tech support, all the logistic work that's just required to make this thing go. In particular, I would like to thank Crystal for her advice and support in putting all this together. And I would also like to thank Atika, who helped to oversee the management of the venue. Thank you very much. And I would also like to thank Erin of VCH, Victoria Concert Hall, for also providing me advice, especially in the early stages of grant application when I was, when we were still all stuck under lockdown trying to figure out what to do with our lives. So I would like to thank her for that assistance. And then, of course, I would have to thank Centaur Records and their executive, Victor Saxer, for their help, for accepting the proposal, but also all the help with publicizing the CD, putting it on the various platforms, the back and forth discussions we had, helping me to tune all the nitty-gritty things, which, I may add, for the umpteenth time, if you buy the CD, we both trashed out a lot of details regarding the booklet and, the CD. So once again, I would encourage you to buy the CD to take stock of our work. So thank you very much, Victor and Centaur Records. my teacher Paul Jacobs of the Juilliard School. Thank you very much. You have supported me as I was applying for this grant, and just overseeing all the work regarding this project, giving me a chance to play for the organ department, but also for the help and assistance in registering the pieces in the first place, and just all the assistance and support so far. And also I would like to thank my Juilliard colleagues for being so nice as to listen to all the pieces over the past few years in their entirety as I played them over and over again at various recitals and events in the United States. I would also like to thank my friend Eddie, the artist in residence of this wondrous church, St. Ignatius of Antioch. Thank you very much, Eddie, for providing this space, the venue, the rehearsal, and for running the live stream and telling me what some of you have been saying in the comments. No, I jest, but thank you very much, Eddie. I would like to thank, of course, Mervyn Wong, who did the art and who also assisted me with publicity. Thank you very much, Mervyn. Your gracious help in navigating these multifarious dimensions and planes. It's very much appreciated. Of course, the composers. I have to thank the composers, Jonathan Shin, Syafiqah, Huang Dingchao, Yuting, Jinjun, Emily, Winnie, and of course Zhangyi. And even though I did not perform the works of Emily and Dingchao today, if you should so deign to buy the CD or look it up on Spotify, you can hear their works as well as the remaining movements from the Seven Angels. But thank you very much for obliging me in writing these pieces and in just being there to talk through things that need to be sorted out and stuff like that. And also, I guess, for the publicity for the CD. So thank you very much. Of course, the folks at OCCD Audio for recording this, Wei Zheng for helping with the production, and Dominic Streicher of MSM Productions for the mastering. So, as I promised, it does really take a village to make a CD, and thank you to all of you for involved. Thank you for those of you who are watching, even though I don't actually know which of you is watching. I know there are some NAC assessors there, but that's about it. So, I could just end, if I wanted, with the fourth angel and leave you with these thoughts of destruction and stuff, but I thought I'll leave you with something cheery. So this is the final piece for this morning or this evening, Jonathan Shin's A Postlude to Bach's Allein, Gott in der Herr sei er. So what does that whole mouthful mean? So Allein, Gott, that is the German Gloria, glory to God in the highest, which Bach made not just one setting in the Klavierübung, but also, I think he made 3 settings of them. And of course, he made multiple settings throughout his life of this chorale. It's a very delightful chorale. And so, the opening theme would be, something like... so this is the theme from Bach's piece based on the chorale itself. And John, he had this idea, he was like, what if Bach time traveled to now and he came up, he listened to bluegrass, if I remember correctly, and jazz, and then, and then he was inspired to write this chorale. What would it sound like? So, as I said earlier, these are pieces of 21st century Singaporeans looking back at that of an 18th century European. But now what if we imagine the opposite, an 18th century European kind of looking at our 21st century world and trying to see what he might come up with, this chorale. So Jonathan Shin's Postlude to Bach's Allein, Gott in der Herr sei er. Thank you.